Hello, thank you for bearing with me while I took a bit of a break from reading the text. I've had family here and it's just been a little bit hectic, so here we are, reading with the Course Companions group. This is Chapter 1, Desiring a Sinless World, and Section 1, The Forgotten Song. If you'd like to join me in prayer, please close your eyes. Dear Father, if left to my own devices, my perception will be skewed. I surrender to you everything that I think and feel. God, please take my past, plan my future, send your Spirit to redeem my mind that I might be set free. May I be your channel, God, and serve the world. May I become who you would have me be, do what you would have me do, go where you would have me go, and say what you would have me say, and to whom, God. God, please allow me to set aside everything that I think I know about everything today, God. Please enable me to have an open mind and a new experience, your experience, the experience you would have me have. I thank you, God. Amen. All right, here we go. The Forgotten Song. Projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As man thinketh, so does he perceive. Footnote 1. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen is a classic new thought of writing on the power of thought, published in 1902. Its opening statement includes this: man thinks in secret and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. Its title is inspired by Proverbs 23:7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but will to change your mind about the world. Footnote 2. In context, this means that if you want to go from seeing the world as damned to seeing the world of holiness and hope, see next paragraph, you don't need to change the world itself. You just need to change your mind about it. This, however, does not mean that you should not try to save the world by extending miracles to others, since the Course consistently urges you to do so. The phrase "save the world," in fact, is without exception framed positively in the Course. See, for instance, Workbook 153, paragraph 8, sentence 1. Our true purpose is to save the world. Perception is a result and not a cause, and that is why order of miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where there is no meaning, there is chaos. Damnation is your judgment on yourself, and this you will project upon the world. See it as damned, and all you see is what you did to hurt the Son of God. If you behold disaster and catastrophe, you try to crucify him. If you see holiness and hope, you join the will of God to set him free. There is no choice that lies between these two decisions. And if you will witness to the choice you made and learn from this to recognize the one you made, and you will see the witness to the choice you made and learn from this to recognize the one you made. The world you see but shows you how much joy you have allowed yourself to see in you and to accept as yours. And if this is its meaning, then the power to give it joy must lie within you. Never forget the world the sightless see must be imagined, and what it really looks like is unknown to them. They must infer what could be seen from evidence forever indirect, and reconstruct their inferences as they stumble and fall because of what they did not recognize or walk unharmed through open doorways that they thought were closed. And so it is with you. You do not see. Your cues for inference are wrong, and so you stumble and fall down upon the stones you did not recognize and fail to be aware you can go through the doors you thought were closed, but which stand open before unseen eyes waiting to welcome you. How foolish it is to attempt to judge what could be instead. It is not necessary to imagine what the world must look like. It must be seen before you recognize it for what it is. You can be shown which doors are open, and you can see where safety lies and which way leads to darkness, which to the light. Judgment will always give you false direction, but vision shows you where to go. Why should you guess? There is no need to learn through pain, and gentle lessons are acquired joyously and are remembered gladly. What gives you happiness you want to learn and not forget. It is not this you would deny. Your question is whether the means by which this course is learned will bring the joy it promises. If you believed it would, the learning of it would be no problem. You are not happy learners yet because you still remain uncertain that vision gives you more than judgment does, and you have learned that both you cannot have. The blind become accustomed to their world by their adjustments to it. They think they know their way about in it. They learned it not through joyous lessons, but through the stern necessity of limits they believed they could not overcome. And still believing this, they hold those lessons dear and cling to them because they cannot see. They do not understand the lessons keep them blind. This they do not believe, and so they keep the world they learn to see in their imagination, believing that their choice is that or nothing. They hate the world they learn through pain, and everything they think is in it serves to remind them that they are incomplete and bitterly deprived. Thus, they define their life and where they live, adjusting to it as they think they must, afraid to lose the little that they have. And so it is with all who see the body as all they have and all their brothers have. They try to reach each other and fail again. And they adjust to loneliness, believing that to keep the body is to save the little that they have. Listen and try to think if you remember what we will speak of now. Listen, perhaps you can catch a hint of an ancient state not quite forgotten, dim perhaps, and yet not altogether unfamiliar. Like a song whose name is long forgotten and the circumstances in which you heard it completely unremembered. Not the whole song has stayed with you, but just a little wisp of melody attached not to a person or a place or anything particular. But you remember from just this little part how lovely was the song, how wonderful the setting where you heard it, and how you loved those who were there and listened with you. The notes are nothing, yet you have kept them with you, for them, not for them themselves, but as a soft reminder of what would make you weep if you remembered how dear it was to you. You could remember, yet you are afraid, believing you would lose the world you learned since then. And yet you know that nothing in the world you learned is half as dear as this. Listen and see if you remember an ancient song you knew so long ago, and held more dear than any melody you taught yourself to cherish since. Footnote 3. As we see 2 paragraphs later, this ancient song is the ancient hymn of love that we sing to God in heaven. This is later called a song of gratitude and love and praise by everything created to the source of its creation. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything you see and yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle. And all the circle fills with light before your eyes. The edges of the circle disappear, and what is in it no longer is contained at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining and with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity. Nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there is nowhere this light is not. It is the vision of the Son of God, whom you know well. Here is the sight of him who knows his Father. Here is the memory of what you are. A part of this with all of it within you, and joined to all of it as surely as all is joined to you. Accept the vision that can show you this and not the body. You know the ancient song and know it well. Nothing will ever be as dear to you as this ancient hymn of love the Son of God sings to his Father still. And now the blind can see. Let's go to footnote 4. Luke 7:22. Jesus answered and said to them, Go and tell John the things you have seen and heard, that the blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the poor have the gospel preached to them. For that same song they sing in honor of their Creator gives praise to them as well. The blindness that they made will not withstand the memory of this song, and they will look upon the vision of the Son of God, remembering who he is they sing of. What is a miracle but this remembering? And who is there in whom this memory lies not? The light in one awakens it in all, and when you see it in each other, you are remembering for everyone. This is Robert Perry's commentary, chapter 21, Desiring a Sinless World, day 254, section 1, The Forgotten Song. This section is understandably beloved because it is so beautiful and poignant. Indeed, in addition to the image of the forgotten song, we have two additional arresting images: the picture of the blind and the vision of the Son of God. It is essential, though, that we do more than let these images move us. We need to understand them and let them in on a personal level. To begin with, then, we need to realize that we ourselves, in a very real sense, are blind. Yes, our eyes see physical forms, but we don't see what things mean. The fact that we are constantly trying to figure out what things mean shows us that we do not see meaning. If we looked on it directly, we wouldn't need to try to figure it out, having endless conversations about it and constantly change our mind about it. Let's face it, we are guessing. Yet meaning is the most important thing to see. It's the payoff, the thing that all seeing is trying to lay hold of. And so, in the most important sense of the word, we are indeed blind. We are the person depicted in this section, fumbling about, unexpectedly stumbling where we thought the ground was smooth, and walking through doorways where we thought there was a wall. Doesn't that describe how we go through life, and doesn't that prove that we are in fact blind? When we look at the world, then, what are we seeing? On the meaning level, we are seeing our own projection. We are seeing our damnation of ourselves projected onto the world and glaring back at us, scowling at us in anger. And we are seeing our own imagination. We look out on a mental Lego world constructed from 1,000 experience-based inferences. Another way of saying this is that we are seeing our own judgments, our judgments of what things must mean, given what has happened. These judgments, however, are wrong, which is shown by the fact that even with their help, we will stumble painfully through our landscape every day. How could our judgments not be wrong when they are guided by our baseline judgment, our damnation of the Son of God? As Jesus makes clear, we hate the world that our blindness has left us with. It is not only a world in which getting around means getting banged up, but it's also a world in all we have our bodies, and bodies cannot join, and bodies do not mean anything. We are thus deprived of real meaning, bright, full, happy meaning, and we can't stand it. Yet we think that we better hang on to this world because it's this or nothing. This is where the achingly beautiful metaphor of the forgotten song comes in. I am not going to summarize the metaphor. You can read it for yourself. But what does it mean? The way I think of it is this. We all have a longing for paradise, a yearning for that place in which everything is perfect, everything is in harmony, everything is safety, and everything is love. Can't you see this yearning wherever you look? We are always trying to get back to Eden or forward to utopia. We always have been, and we always will be. What Jesus is implying is that this is not just an empty dream, a kind of knee-jerk recoil from this painful world. Rather, as he says in the workbook, it is a memory of home, that vague sense that there must be a place where everything is right, where all is perfection, is an actual memory of where we are. Where all is perfection is an actual memory of where we are from. It's just a fragment of memory, just a few notes of the forgotten song. But we cling to it, don't we? Deep down inside, it's everything to us. The fact that this is an actual memory has one massive implication. We don't have to hang on to this world as if it's all we have. It's not. There is more, infinitely more. That more is our inheritance, and it is our home. As we really let this in, Jesus implies that we will awaken our sleeping vision, for we are not truly blind. We have a case of what used to be called hysterical blindness, where an emotional problem becomes converted into apparent blindness. Our ability to see, in other words, is fully intact. We don't have to constantly wonder what things mean. Why should you guess, Jesus asks. If we can just let in the fact that our longing for paradise is an actual memory of a paradise that still belongs to us, then we will allow those long closed eyes in us to open again. And when they do, what will they see? They will see the vision of endless light that is described in paragraph 10. Yet this is not endless physical light, which would obviously be boring. It is a living light of pure awareness, pure worth, and pure holiness, and as such it is indescribably beautiful. Have you ever had the sense that at the core of someone's being, perhaps someone you deeply love, is something bottomlessly, ineffably sacred? Imagine gazing upon that sacredness directly and seeing it everywhere in everyone, and knowing that as you do, you are just a step away from the eternal paradise you have always longed for. Wouldn't that be preferable to the world you see now? I'm going to go ahead and read paragraph 10 again for us, if you'd like to close your eyes and sit into this beautiful reading. Beyond the body, beyond the sun and stars, past everything you see and yet somehow familiar, is an arc of golden light that stretches as you look into a great and shining circle. And all the circle fills with light before your eyes. The edges of the circle disappear, and what is in it no longer is contained at all. The light expands and covers everything, extending to infinity, forever shining, and with no break or limit anywhere. Within it, everything is joined in perfect continuity, nor is it possible to imagine that anything could be outside, for there is nowhere that this light is not. This light is you, this light is me. I love you. Thank you so much for joining with me. Chapter 21, Desiring a Sinless World, Day 254. Section 1 of the Course Companions reading, The Forgotten Song. Thank you, Emily Bennington, Robert Perry, and you. Thank you for joining. I love you. Merry Christmas.